Hey everybody, welcome to Pete and Andy Talk Ski on your TV. This week, we are going to go over X Games Slopestyle, but the good news is that we can compare it to the Aspen Grand Prix Slopestyle. Exact same event, exact same course, a week apart. We're also going to tell you all about the FIS Cup standings. That's right, who's going to win the Crystal Globe. And then, of course, at the end, we are going to discuss argue about our power rankings. Who is the center of the universe in slopestyle for the men and the women? So, Pete, here we go. X Games Slopestyle. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me everything.
Oh, I personally hated it. It fell flat on me.
Shocked.
We're gonna go just straight back to where we left off after our Big Air recap. But the format just absolutely crushed that event for me. The skiing was great. I didn't get enough. I was not losing it.
Was the skiing great?
I mean, yeah, it was, because
okay.
I don't want to take anything away from the athletes that were out there sending it.
That is 100%.
You know what
true.
I mean?
100%.
It just overall event just absolutely fell flat with that final field cut to 5, right?
Yeah.
10-5. I personally wasn't there for it. You know what I mean? Like, it was there for me.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, to take in, but I was like, it wasn't connecting with me, and I didn't like it. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing we talked about in Big Air. We missed that ramp up. We missed that ramp up from the whole field, getting that third run or just doing the full field 4 runs. Yeah. Where I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. We had 3 falls and this is the clutch last run and who's got it. I had none of that.
Well, what I like about, the Grand Prix style thing, right? It is still just a 2-run final, but you're going into that day. You're going into that whole day knowing that it's finals day, right? At no point are you like, okay, what's my qualifying run going to be? What am I going to do if there's none of that. It is just, this is my banger run. I'm going to do it from the moment they tell me to go, and that is what I'm going to do. And that is your mentality. There's no maybe I'll do a layup. No, from the very beginning, you are firing and you know that you need to do your big stuff. That is what I like about it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's not to say that the 10 competitors that we had for X Games weren't going into it. Like, they knew there was a cut, but it's like a weird game of I'm going to save a little bit for finals, but then you didn't get into finals. And it's like, do you just go full bore? I don't know. It's just the whole thing.
I'm willing to bet every single skier that didn't make the final in X Games will tell you that they did not put down their big run for that day because they were focused on qualifying, not focused on putting down their best run. And I think that's an issue. So should we go over the podium? Should we whatever? So for X Games Slope, we had Luca in first, Andre in second, Mac in third. This is men's, obviously, by the way. We'll do women's after, obviously. And then in Aspen, we had A-Hall, Colby, Stevenson, Birk, Ruud. And what is wild to me is those are 2 completely different podiums in contests that are 1 week apart on the exact same course with, a slightly similar field, but I don't think there was anyone in the X Games slope that didn't do the Aspen slope, right? So it is telling to me that they are completely different podiums.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Weird.
I'm gonna start with X though. Luca is a legend. He's reached legend status now. Prove me wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean? Tell me he doesn't deserve it. He deserves it. He's
no one can prove you wrong.
That. Yeah.
Pete, my thought,
so good in that X final.
Honestly, my thought on X Games Slopestyle was Luca saved the event. The kid that wasn't even in the contest when he woke up in the morning, obviously he won, but he saved the event. He easily put down the biggest, best run. He looked like he was going to win from the beginning. Of course, I'm a huge Luca fan, so watching him, for me was fun. But if he wasn't in the event, it was it would have completely fallen flat. Like I would have been very, very bummed on the whole event if it weren't for Luca Harrington. Honest opinion.
Yeah, he was electrifying. Like the way he skied, you're right. He
Good
did
work.
make that final. He made it better. He made it enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
My first gripe though, if we're gonna start and just go X Games and kind of compare to Aspen, and like you said, the two different podiums.
Your first gripe. I feel like you had some other gripes earlier, but I'll let that continue.
Second, third. I got a lot of grapes. Buckle up here.
Kind of what we do. Yeah.
It is. I went back and I watched Colby's run in the qualifiers for X versus Birk Ruud. And in my honest and humble opinion, I would have put Colby into finals over Birk.
Mm-hmm. And so just as a background, right? Because Birk was the last person in and Colby was not in, right? I just want to clear that up.
He was first out.
Yeah.
And they had I know we're not doing points. It's like ranking, right? But Birk Ruud was at an 86 in the qualification for X, and Colby was at an 80. And I watched their runs again, and I did not see a 6-point discrepancy in there.
Yeah, that's
like
not
whatsoever. No, and I saw a heavier technicality on the rails with Colby than I did with Birk. And similar, they're big dogs. They're all cranking some jumps.
Yeah.
I would have put Colby in over Birk. And maybe that's just a wild out opinion that's my own, and other people who watched it were like, no. You missed Colby doing this. You're just a fanboy. You just wanted him in there, whatever you want to say. But that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I will honestly tell you I liked Colby's run a little bit better. I also know Colby, and I don't know Birk at all. So I certainly think that's part of it. But I mean, unquestionably, as just, I'm just a guy that sits on a couch and watches ski contests now. And for me, I like Colby's run a little better. So I don't think you're crazy there.
Yeah. And then you flash forward to Aspen and he's on the podium, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't make the final in X, on the podium for the World Cup. And again, this is what we missed in X Games, is cutting that field of 10 down.
And I mean, to be clear too, Colby, his podium run in Aspen was much better than his X Games qualifying run. But that also goes to my earlier point where, from the beginning of the day, Colby's like, this is the run that I'm doing in finals at the Grand Prix. And he went and he laid it down. And it just wasn't like that in X Games, right? Like he did a easier, more mellow run. And sometimes when you do that, it just doesn't play out.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's that was a bummer. It was kind of an X Games bummer. And I went back and watched a little bit too to talk about the podium. You had Andre in second and Mac Forehand in third, like a very close margin there.
Yeah. For
third, it would have gone differently for me. And again, I base it 100% on the rails.
Yeah.
Andre's rails versus Mac's rails. And I think Mac had like a little bobble in there, but that doesn't bother me. I would have had Mac in second.
Okay. So
Andre in third.
Here's a question for you. If you could, so in Aspen slope, take Andre and Mac's X Games slope podium runs. Would you put their podium runs on the podium at the Grand Prix? The X Games runs, would they be on the podium at the Grand Prix?
No, probably not.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. I don't think I would.
Yeah, Luca's, I'd say yes. He won X Games, but no, second and third place for me would not be on the podium at the Grand Prix. I'm getting a little upset now, like in all honesty, because like to me, X Games, like it's the event. It is the big event. And to me, it's like, when we went over our like Mount Rushmore tricks, it's like they're all from the X Games. Like that isn't coincidence. Like X Games is supposed to be the biggest, best event. And this year it wasn't. And I am still upset about it, period. Like I don't want to be, but that is the way it goes. I'm going to take a drink now because I'm getting worked up and I don't want to.
You're getting ramped up. I like it. I feel the same way. I feel like when I'm going to look back on this season, especially after us doing this, which has been great, Like the
Super fun,
event that's going to
upsetting, and fun.
stand out to me. Yeah. The event that's going to stand out to me the most is going to be locks so far.
Yeah,
And again,
for
we have
slope. Yeah,
two more. Yeah, there's two more slope styles this year. One
well,
in
3 if you count
Stoneham
world
in
champs.
Quebec, and yeah, and world champ. So could change my mind on things. But for right now, I'm not going to look back and be like, oh, that X slope final was amazing because it wasn't to me, right? I look back and say that lock slope final was heavy,
Yeah,
and that was amazing.
100%.
And that's different.
Yeah,
It's not every year that you wouldn't look back and be like, oh, you always look back at X as top dog, and they'll turn it around because I think a lot of them are tuning in and listening to us,
yeah,
and taking some feedback.
Yeah, taking notes. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to my last gripe with
Okay.
the X Games, and then we can kind of move on and talk about Aspen a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, Judging wise, for me, there was just some wild inconsistencies for either missed grabs or kind of like a miss and then a make grab, and like early offs on rails, where like for some people it was destroying their run, and for other people it was just kind of like, oh well, they got the grab, or like got most of that rail.
Yeah.
It just was way too varied for me. Like, pick your lane. Are you gonna like judge soft or harder?
Yeah, it was interesting to me, and I'm not saying I prefer one or the other, whatever, but it was interesting to me that at X Games they were much more lenient on early offs on rails than at the Grand Prix, but it seemed like they were way more harsh on grabs at X Games than they were at the Grand Prix. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think I could see that. But but that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's two different panels, right? You got two different panels. I think it was two different panels. I actually am not 100% sure on that, but I'm assuming it's two different panels between the two contests. So that's
I'm sure the Aspen World Cup event had more of your international panel.
Yeah.
For being like a full FIS event,
Yeah.
But that's like, it's just not fun, and it's just not fair for the athletes either.
Yeah.
So again, you have these two contests back to back with varied judging panels, but they're also looking for different things. You would hope that they say something in the riders meeting, but whatever they say in a riders meeting goes out the window as soon as it becomes hard to judge.
Yeah,
or rank people.
Those judge rider meetings to me have always been completely pointless. Like, it's just it's just not good. Like, they need to do a much better job of communicating that. And I mean, I'm not saying it's even necessarily the judge's fault. Like, it's a tough room, I get it, but it's not good. Anyway.
No, I think it's just consistency stuff.
Yeah.
And this is not the first time that this has been an issue, right? This is a long ongoing thing in the sport, and I get it. There's just variability with it, but it was very odd at X Games that some people were not dinged and others were, is what it seemed like.
A little preview to half pipe, which we're not talking about this episode, but I think you can definitely say that in half pipe. More on Andy getting upset about that later. So what did you think about for X Games ladies? Well, I mean, I guess X Games or Grand Prix ladies.
Tess in first, Olivia in second, Ani in third.
Yep.
And I'm going to start in third place with Ani because I am glad that she gets rewarded for being such a smooth skier. We're talking top to bottom, very little bobble, good body control, great landings. Yep. While the level of skills is not as high, I love to see that being rewarded because that's like important to me, is like that effortless run.
Totally
that
agree.
We reward that,
Totally agree. Love how she skis.
Me too. I'll go on to my gripes. The format was terrible, dude.
So the biggest thing, right, for me is that Tess's winning run in X Games was worse than her winning run, in my opinion, at the previous year's X Games, and also worse than her run at the Grand Prix a week later. Just my opinion. And if that happens, there's a problem.
Yeah, we can blame and blame and blame the format. But it's a real deal, you know?
Yeah.
It's a real deal. I don't love it. I think like Grace could have ramped up a little bit because she was the first one out. Sarah Hoffman, we know,
Yeah.
is like a massive competitor. Like when she puts her run, whatever makeup of that run is down, like she can be and down clean. She's a podium contender.
Yeah.
And even Rell, who was back there, she ended up like seventh in the field in X Games. You got to give him more runs. X Games is the last time. Well, this is not the last time I'm going to say it, but that's very much how I feel. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating is the best way to put it.
And, I mean, you could say, right, that like, well, at the Grand Prix, it was a week later. They had more time on the course. Like that is certainly an argument that you could make. But for me, being able to look at, again, last year's X Games and feeling like the level was higher last year, there's a lot of other little things that you can point to be like, yeah, they just kind of messed up this year at X Games. And I mean, I'm going to assume that, they'll have some takeaways that they learned and all that stuff. And so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and to say it was a transition year, and we're going to run it back and hopefully do better next time.
For sure. And then you look at the women's final of 4, right?
Yeah.
And part of my issue there is besides Ani, everyone had one crash run and everybody had one landed run in your 2-run X Games final.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no, we talk a lot about that 3rd run. That's what we've been talking about. That's a thing. But again, as like the TV show that it is, you had 8 runs, but 4 of them were like crash fail runs. Like that's not exciting.
Yeah.
As you're watching it too. But again, if your field was maybe a little bigger, like if you had just had, it's just 8. Should have just ran all 8. You should have given everybody the chance. I know I'm just a broken record over here, but I can't get over it. I don't know what to do.
Well, I think you're a correct broken record. So if that's any consolation.
Yeah, we'll take that, I suppose. So Tess, obviously the gold medal there. Aspen World Cup, she was gold medal as well.
Yeah.
And then I also think, like we talked about for her for Big Air, she got robbed. She should have had 3 gold medals over that 2-week span.
That's a really good point.
One in there.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating. And then, we had different podiums for X Games, and for the Aspen World Cup.
Yeah.
Except for Tess, who was on top in both. But then we had Megan Oldham up in second, and then Rell Harwood with her very first ever World Cup podium.
Yep.
And that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. I thought Rell skied great. So I've thought about this a couple times because I remember it was at the Lock Slopestyle maybe, or one of our previews. I was like, Pete, what is going on with the American ladies slope? Like, I feel like, they haven't been as competitive, as they have been in previous years. And, now watching this year go on a little bit more, like, it's actually been pretty good. Rell caught a podium here. But, I mean, watching, Grace, I thought she skied great. So I'm very happy to see that, they are this year going in the right direction already. Like I honestly didn't have much for expectations this year from American ladies, and they have vastly outperformed what I thought they were going to do. So
yeah, I think that's a valid point. And you're seeing like Rell for sure, Grace too, like making all those finals versus being like just out. So they're always in the mix there this year, or have been this year. And that's sweet to see. It'll be very interesting with 2 left to see who comes back into the field. Because like we talked about for X Games and for this World Cup, we were missing what you would consider some big dogs in the women's field.
Yeah,
right?
That's
with
true.
Eileen out, with Mathilde out.
Yep.
And I think there was one other.
Well,
Too.
Megan was out for Big Air.
Yeah, just Big Air.
Yeah.
But throwing them into the mix too, it's like we'll see these next two be like super heavy finals, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, obviously Grace and Rell were the two that were most prominent in Aspen, but I thought they both skied great. Like I really did. Like I was very, not just that they podiumed, but just in general watching them ski, I was like, all right, like they can do it. It's legit.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think for Grace, like trajectory wise, right? Like
Yeah.
coming to Aspen as an alternate, like getting to compete in slope, which was sweet, podiuming in Big Air. Like, I mean, that's part of like the jump off progression of like, oh no, I'm here. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I think when you're going into events with that, like, no, I'm here. I can do this. I've had that little taste of success can typically like push somebody farther and farther on. So
yeah.
it's sweet.
I think Rell walking away with a gold. Yeah. I mean, it was a knuckle hook, but still, I mean, that's the next game's gold, right? And a bronze in the Grand Prix. Like, I can't see how she's not going to be walking around a little bit more proud, a little taller after her trip to Aspen.
For sure. And just looking at for X Games, Grace was like 1 point away from being in that final.
Yeah.
Right behind Olivia. So, I mean, she was like right there too. And if the X Games hadn't destroyed the whole event with a terrible moguls format, we could have seen Grace with another medal. We'll never know.
Destroyed the whole event. Yeah. What can I say? You're right. All right. Anything else you want to go over regarding Aspen?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I want to go back real quick to the men's for just a shout out.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to give a shout out to Connor Rell for what I would say achieving kind of big dog status, because
heck yeah,
he was in, I think, both finals and like really like knocking at the door there.
Yeah. How old is he?
We go young, I think.
Younger than me. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's, I feel like he and Mac are kind of the next crop. He's younger than Mac, right? I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't know
I think he is.
But yeah, and seeing like, I'd heard his name around, whatever, but I really honestly not sure I've seen him ski before the trip to Aspen, and I was like, all right, like we have a strong future. Like this kid is good. Another one to add to the list.
Yeah, for sure. So he's born 2003. You can do some math while I tell you. I know he skied for kind of like
22
the
at most.
Y East Academy for a bit before getting on the team. But yeah, shout out, dude. That's huge. Like 2 finals. He ended up 6th for the Aspen World Cup and then 4th. 1 point, literally 1 point behind Mac for X Games.
Yeah.
So I think that's like super exciting. And then my last shout out is just to the Dons, the Kings, Colby and A-Hall for jumping back on top in Aspen. Yeah. Like to me, it was kind of this like, hey, X Games, this is what you missed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel, so do you think if Colby had completely grabbed, what was it, jump 2, do you think he would have won at the Grand Prix?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I remember because we did a little live stream for it.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it, I was like, I just don't know if I could pick between the two.
Yeah. That's when I was like, I'm happy I'm not a judge. I can just sit back and be irresponsible. And this is awesome. I don't need to deal with this.
For sure.
That was my
opinion. Or I feel like if I was a judge, I'd be like, you both won. I'm not big on participation medals, but like, I don't know. Other sports end in a tie sometimes. Like, just divvy up the points and the money, or just pay them both the full amount of money they're supposed to be paid.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that one was too close for me, and I won't say that I'm upset with where it ended up with A-Hall and then Colby.
Yeah,
and it probably could have gone the other way, and I still wouldn't be upset. And And I don't know, those guys seem like they wouldn't have been upset with each other either,
Yeah,
whatever way it turned out.
I feel like
they've been around together enough.
yeah, they've shared a couple podiums. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome watching the Grand Prix. And I mean, again, same thing for half pipe, which we'll talk about later. But it was a good palate cleanser. Like I remember watching it and I was just like, I needed that. Like I needed to watch a really sick, good event on this course because like that was super cool. It was fun, exciting. Like it checked all the boxes that I needed it to do after X Games.
Yeah, I agree with you, but at the same time, what you just said is watching a FIS event was such a cleansing moment and brought you back versus the
I don't say that very often, Pete.
No, there's unfortunately something wrong with that comment. Albeit very, very true.
What it is, yes. Somewhere there is a man sitting on a giant pile of money watching this, just laughing. And we got him.
We got him back.
Yep.
We have it all now.
Take that, X Games. Yeah.
We have the Free Ride World Tour. It's the next thing you're going to be taking over.
All we need to do is combine aerials and big air and make it a super event, and it'll be perfect.
Yes. We'll have all the money that we could
someone actually said
squeeze.
That. Have we ever discussed this before? Somebody actually said from FIS that aerials and big air will one day be one event, and it'll be the same thing. And it'll be called Bigger Air, and it's all because it's super similar because that only makes sense to someone that doesn't understand skiing that big air and aerials are basically the same thing. I don't remember who it was, but someone actually said that.
It's probably some guy named Joe. I could see a scenario where I really enjoy watching people try to blend those two together, and what I picture in my head is you have the aerial skis, which are like basically randonnée skis, like the tiniest. They're not even mogul skis. I don't even know what they are, right?
They're like 140s. Yeah.
You barely enough to get you down and off of a huge jump, right?
Yeah.
So, but in my head, if we're going to blend them together, then I want to see a twin tip version of those skis. And I want to see somebody try to hit a aerials jump switch while staying in perfect form, but going backwards. And then I want to see kind of like inward on axis switch aerial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like would be incredibly hard.
I fear, Pete, if an aerialist were to attempt that, an aerialist would have to actually be able to ski. And I think that might be where you're going to run into some problems. Have you ever seen an aerialist try to stop in a finish corral?
No, they don't have to stop. They just have to land.
Land and then run into the wall or something? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Not all aerialists are terrible skiers, but most of them are.
True. That's true. I think the biggest person...
I'm not making this up, by the way. I'm not making this up. If you've never watched an aerial contest before, all the people out there at home, you should definitely watch one and just watch them try to stop in the finish corral. And it is the most cringe thing I've ever seen on skis in my entire life. And I do not exaggerate. Anyway, we've gotten a little off topic here. We did,
but I just go a little farther. There's not even ski in the name of the discipline. Like it's just aerials because it's not about the skiing. Like your skis that you're on are just a vessel to launch you as big as you want to go in the air.
Like a Speedo for a diver, Pete.
Yeah, yes. The last thing I'll say is that if we do blend these together, which I'm not on board for, but I like the concept of it, and I don't really like it, but Alex Hall, I think, is going to have the biggest leg up on everybody because I've seen him do a switch front
he's got
full.
The biggest legs.
Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, switch front full, like on axis, And
I would love
impressive.
To see that. Yeah.
We'll see how he does with 135 twin tips, which would be like blades for him. But
yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me, but I would love to see it. Do a switch front full. That'd actually be pretty cool.
Probably
once. You should do it once and then never do it again. Anyway, should we move on or should we keep going with this? Because it's actually been pretty enjoyable. So, cup standings, Pete. Do you know what the
Ooh,
current Crystal Globe standings are?
no clue.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. First place is Colby Stevenson.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
What he's I don't know, 9 points ahead of Birk Ruud, who's second place, and then A Hall's third. But Colby, Birk,
Okay.
very tight. There are 3 events left. We actually don't know if World Championships counts for the cup standings or not. We're saying no, but anyway, there's at least two contests left, so there's a lot of room for someone to make up. But currently, Colby still has the golden bib. Pete, your thoughts?
That's sweet. I'm pumped for Colby.
I think he deserves it. He's skiing awesome.
Yeah, I do too. I went to look for those cup standings, but I ended up on prize money standings from FIS.
I was going to say, did you end up on fist-sucks.com?
That was very close, because when I type that into my browser now, that's what comes up first. This is my suggested page.
See, Google's smart. The machines are proving that they know more.
Yeah. Who do you think has the most prize money this season? And this combines all disciplines. This is just like
so men, ladies.
Why don't you start with men? And we're talking half pipe, slopestyle, big air. Do them all.
Alex Ferreira.
Yeah, he's in first.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. 41,100 Swiss francs from this season.
Is Swiss francs roughly dollars?
I did not do the conversion on it.
All right, talk about something for 10 seconds. And
perfect. Every time I hear Swiss francs, my brain goes straight to hot dogs. Like,
did you buy a lot of hot dogs in Switzerland?
They do. They make a much better hot dog.
I mean, it would be tough for it to be worse. But so I will tell you that Swiss francs are slightly more valuable than the U.S. dollar, but not by a lot. 10%.
Hey,
so it's almost the same
thing. That's pretty good, though. I'm glad you get a little more.
Yeah, you get a little bit more. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say that I wish Alex hadn't made more money than that, because he's won a few World Cups and done quite well at some other ones, but I'll let that sleeping dog lie. So who's number one for ladies? It's got to be Eileen, right?
It's got to be Eileen, and it's like not even close. It's over like $15,000 above Flora, who is in second.
Oh wow!
Because of her big air and slope style.
I love it.
Yeah. Tess is actually right behind Flora, but Eileen is still on the top, being a triple threat competitor, and she has 56,000 Swiss hot dogs.
Got it.
Swiss francs. Sorry.
Got it. Swiss hot dogs. I would be willing to bet a Swiss hot dog costs more than $1. So, cup standings for ladies. Do you know them? Would you like to know them?
Yeah, but I'd have to say Tess has to be on top right now.
Yeah, Tess, Megan Oldham, Mathilde.
Oh, that's crazy. Mathilde's still in the mix.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're really good.
Yeah, but I guess she's only missed, like, for World Cup standings, she's only missed Aspen.
Yeah. I think
that makes sense.
And I think the top two are quite close. Okay, well, they're 11 points apart, so it's still pretty close. Megan and Tess Ledeux.
Tess Ledeux.
It's pretty tight.
Oh, do you want to know another fun fact here? And then we'll go on to power rankings. I'm sorry, I keep derailing everything here.
Go ahead and derail.
But the first American woman on the list for money is Svea Irving.
Really? Okay, that makes sense. I love how interested you are with the money rankings. Like, that's the...
Oh, do you want to know another fun fact?
Sure.
I am, because I've never found this tab, because they have the worst website ever.
Yes.
It's hidden somewhere.
I didn't know it existed, yeah.
He has made way more money than Birk this year. So, sorry,
we should let Birk know about that.
Yeah, he knows.
Do better, Birk. Catch up.
Yeah. That money. All right, let's hit some power rankings, slope style. This is post X Games. post Aspen World Cup.
Yep.
I think you should start so I can.
Men or ladies? Have you not put
Go
yours
with
together yet?
No, I totally have. Yeah, go with the men.
Number 1, Slopestyle, Luca Harrington. Number 2, Alexander Hall. Number 3, Colby Stevenson. Number 4, Andre Rigetti. Dude just makes finals and he makes podiums.
Yes, he does.
Like, don't get me wrong. I would say that there are other skiers out there with bigger tricks, that like maybe grab a little better. They're better on rails, but dude, Andre finds podiums. Period.
That's the one for me. It's the rail one. It's rails for me. That's why you won't find him on my list. I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it, but I think at the level that rails have been being skied at in competition for the last 4 years, he hasn't caught up.
So
I don't see it.
Do you remember where he finished
Not on my list.
at the Grand Prix in Aspen?
No.
I could look it up, but I'm certain it'll take me 10 minutes. But I mean, that just goes to my point where I felt like rails counted more at the Grand Prix than they did at X Games. And that's that.
He ended up in 4th place.
Off the podium. But dude,
yeah, so
I'm telling you, you can doubt Andre Rigetti all you want, but that man will find podiums.
He will.
Period.
He's a consistent skier. I'll give it to you. He's not on my list. My list goes Colby in 1, and he's also golden bib right now too.
Yeah,
so that's fitting. That ties together. I have Luca in 2nd because he's a legend. Prove me wrong. I have A-Hall in 3rd, and then I had a split. I got a split spoiler.
Okay.
I have Mac because I couldn't leave him out, and I have Rell, who was just in both finals.
Yeah.
Right there, so I had to split it, which we don't have rules.
Interesting, interesting technique, interesting approach to that, but I'll let it go. Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully, in the next episodes, it's not like so. My spoilers are.
Yeah.
The
I now have 5 spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, maybe you'll be able to have 2, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give me your ladies. You do ladies first.
All right. Ladies, I have Tess. I feel like that's a pretty easy one for right now where we're at in the season. I have Eileen in 2nd. I have Olivia in 3rd. My spoiler is Rell.
Okay.
Can I do a split spoiler here too with Rell and Grace?
Nope.
Fantastic. I shouldn't have asked.
You can break the rules once.
All right. Well, those are my 4.
Okay. Well, my 4. Number 1, I've got Mathilde. Number 2, I've got Tess. Ledeux. 3 is Eileen Gu. And then my spoiler is Flora Tabanelli. And Pete, I'm going to tell you right now. So for those of you that don't know, Mathilde has said that she is out for the next couple contests. Did she say she was going to be back at World Champs? I don't remember if she specifically said when she's coming back. But the point is she is taking a little bit of time off to basically, give herself a mental break. And for that reason, she's number 1 for me. Like,
yeah.
I 1000% believe, it was a million years ago, but I've been there. Like, taking time off for mental is a fantastic idea. It is a fantastic idea. If you are over it and there's some stuff that is just can't get out of your mind. And so, I think when she gets back, I think she is going to kill it. I think that is, taking care of your actual mental health, especially as a skier when you're doing things that are terrifying, is vastly important. So she is easily my pick to win World Champs when she gets back, because I think she's the best skier. And, I've said it all year, right? She hasn't been on my podium. She's been my spoiler because she hasn't been consistent. But I think if she gets her mental right, she'll be way more consistent and she is going to win. That's how I feel about it.
I think it's a great call out for sure. And it's funny because she's been on the top of my podium.
Right.
prediction list power
Okay,
rank
yeah,
for
I
the
broke
whole time
yeah.
until now.
I broke the
You know?
rules a little bit because she specifically said she won't be competing, but still, yeah, I broke the rules. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
that's how I feel.
I like it. It's good, and now I feel bad that she's not on my list.
That's all
I
right.
have some more. I'm gonna have a big old list at the end of the season
Yeah,
here, but
you can't do that.
yeah, I hope the best for the mental break. Take some time,
Yeah,
and I think you're right. The reality is you can come back so much stronger
yeah,
with a little bit of time off because the season is hammering. I mean, well, I feel like it's hammering too, and all we're doing is sitting, watching, and talking about it.
right. Well, yeah, and I
I'm
mean,
stressed out.
yeah, I mean, next year is the year. Like next year is going to be way more stressful than it is this year. So right now is the time to get your mind right and reevaluate your priorities and do that whole thing.
For sure.
So what was Flora on your list? Flora Tabanelli?
No, I
Okay,
did
she's my
have her
spoiler.
on there in third. I changed it to Olivia. I know.
Well, I think, I am very much convinced. I mean, she's still a young lady, but when she, develops a little bit more consistency, which she's already shown in Big Air, but develops a little more consistency in Slopestyle, she's going to hit a lot of podiums, and that's why she is my spoiler.
Yep, I don't disagree. And again, money-wise, she's up there in the money already.
She's making some cash. She's doing just fine.
Yeah.
Do you
it's
know?
Like, does your
why,
standing mean the most, or is it the money?
Do you know why her brother? Yeah, right. As far as I'm concerned, when you're trying to be a professional skier, do you know why? Did her brother compete at the Grand Prix Big Air? I didn't see him. I didn't actually see the event, but I didn't see his name in there for qualities or anything. But I also didn't look. So
don't know. That's a good question.
All right. We will get back to you on that. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
I feel like he did it, but didn't make it. It'd be weird to have him not be in there.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I wouldn't have seen that coming.
He wasn't a DNS. So I don't know. Yeah. Oh, he was in there 17th though.
Oh, okay. So he just didn't land it clean.
Yeah, just not clean.
Crazy. Yeah. He landed that 23 a few different times at X Games.
Yeah, because I think he was on your podium prediction.
Yeah.
For Aspen World Cup Big Air.
Yeah. He'll be back.
Yep.
I'm not worried about him. Miro.
He will be back.
You still got skill.
The Tabanelli twins.
I'm sure they love
Tell me, Andy, how excited are you for half pipe recap?
I'm not sure excited is the way to put it. I don't want to say anything more about that. We will. I'll get back to you on that, Pete.
Okay, that's valid. I was hoping for just like a little nugget.
Like I don't think it's a good idea to open that Pandora's box and start talking about X Games half pipe. It's a bad idea. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
I will say the Grand Prix was a great event. It was a fantastic event. I don't agree with all the scores that were given out that day, but that is, secondary to the fact that it was a fantastic contest and I loved it. So that's what I'll say. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, we can leave it at that because I can see I know you want to say more, but we'll save it. We can save it.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. Let's not get started.
Yeah.
That'd be bad. Right. And that's cool. So that is going to be next episode. We're going to do half pipe, much like we did slope this time. We will compare X Games half pipe with Aspen slope and tell everyone how we felt about that.
I can't wait for that. I literally can't wait. I would like to just maybe we'll pause and then we'll just go right into it. Because I can see in your eyes how ramped up you are right now already, and I'm ready for you to unleash. But I'll do a little homework. I'll get some questions prepped for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that a wrap? Anything else?
Yeah,
Pete?
I think.
Anything else you gotta, get off your chest? You sure?
No, I think if you give me more time, I will have something. But like, let's do our classic. We just kind of keep talking, but it's really over.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just
Well, I like
over.
to do the
You
thing
know?
where, well, first of all, I like to say, if you haven't been to fist-sucks.com to check out Pete and Andy merch, go ahead and check
Yep.
that out. That's really all that we do in terms of our outro thing. So I'm just gonna say, all right, bye, Pete. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
See you,
it.
Andy.
Yeah. Till the
I
next
hope
one.
there's good. I hope there's good music that played over all that babble at the end too. You know.
Should I actually put music in on the end? Because I feel like I don't normally put in music. We could find some outro, hot
I think
tracks
we.
to put in.
I think we
I
should
don't
for
think
this
people
one
say
because
that.
this